can click on Controls. Now at the top you'll see a little bar where it says Show, and it'll show Common. That's one way you might change it. Let me look for...
It says infantry movement right now.
Okay. Let's see here.
Oh, it's a drop-down box. Okay, here we go.
Yes. Trying to find some of this stuff real quick for you. Salute is under multiplayer. That's interesting. Sorry, I meant to jump in here a little earlier and find out what it was by default so I could tell you about it. But didn't get the chance. Is it under infantry movement? It is. So go to infantry movement and move to the bottom. You'll see salute. We want to get rid of that slash. So click on it and hit delete and make sure you hit OK. Otherwise it won't remember. We also want to get rid of the last hint, which is H. Where would that be? That's probably under common. Yes, last help under common. You want to unbind that as well.
Ooh, okay, there.
Found it?
Yep, I found it.
Okay. So we're going to also want to, under the drop-down menu, scroll to 4 from the bottom, Custom Controls, and you want to select Use Action 1. And there you want to assign Control Spacebar. Control plus Spacebar.
Okay. Alright.
Let's see here. Make sure we got everything. C-tab. Okay. Now at the bottom next to OK, you'll see Configure Add-ons. Click on Configure Add-ons for me. At the top where we sort of saw the infantry controls and stuff, you'll see another scroll bar. Click into
hold
that.
on.
Sure thing.
There was something wrong. Sorry, what was that? Configure add-ons, you said?
Yep. Right next to the OK button. And we're going to want to go to the option on the scroll wheel, or the scroll bar there, to go to C-tab. And you want to click
the little C, right? Little C, big tab.
Little C, big tab, yep.
Yeah.
So you're going to want to go in there and delete that part that says H. We're going to want to unbind that, and instead use the slash next to the question mark.
Underneath the question mark? Okay.
Yes, under the question mark. And then we're going to click OK, and we're going to go to Toggle Secondary Interface, and we're going to change that from Control H. We're going to remove Control H, and we're going to hit Control that slash. Sorry, I got that wrong, actually. It's the slash that's above the Enter key that you're going to want to use instead.
Oh, the reverse slash?
Yes, the backslash. I forgot which one salute was. Those are correct.
Okay.
So we'll change that to Control backslash for secondary. And you may want to familiarize yourself with the options for zoom in and zoom out. We're not necessarily going to need you to change those, but you might want to remember them if you want to zoom in and out of your GPS.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Now that C-tab's done. Sure, this is all automatic. Okay, I think that's done. So make sure you click OK and not cancel here, otherwise it won't remember any of the things you just clicked. And go ahead and click continue. Follow me over here.
Sorry, what?
Follow me over here. So I want you to approach this thing and hit Control Space. You should see your character enter an animation that climbs on top of this object.
Hurry up.
This is what we call our enhanced movement. Control Space helps us do it. If you look down towards the ground and hit Control Space again as you approach the ledge, you'll also climb down. Doing this can often be more important than it seems. You'd be surprised how little you have to fall to injure yourself in armor.
Hurry up.
We have a few mods also that modify other means of moving around. For instance, we may not continue to use this in the near future. We're shifting to like a variable run kind of thing. But right now, we should in this server have it set to, was it left alt? No, it's not. Who said it was that? Shift scroll, control scroll. It may not actually be on this server right now. Say left alt scroll, but that's not right. My document might also need some updating. But there is occasionally where you would hold a key and scroll wheel to change your walking speed to give you increased walking. You know what? It might only be possible when we're armed. We'll revisit that.
Yeah, where do I get guns to shoot stuff?
We'll do that in a second. I want to see right now. I'm going to go ahead and check something real quick for you. Ah, it is installed. It just we probably need guns to make it work. So if you approach the edge of a building, if it's a certain height, you might have the option to scroll at the edge of it, and I do. There's a repel self option here. If you middle mouse click on repel self, you can
Oh,
repel
wow.
off of taller buildings.
So, can we go back up?
I don't think so. I think you can pretty much
Looks like
only
I'm
go
going back
down
up.
and... Oh my goodness, yes you are. I don't know what happens when you get to the top of that. I've never tried that before. Learn something new every day.
You're stuck in the seated position now.
Uh-oh. Well, maybe once I get a gun, that'll get fixed.
Spades. Vault. Just vault.
Did that
No?
fix it?
Nope. There you go.
Okay, enhanced movement fixed it. Alright, where was I? So if you hold down your Windows key and look at me, you'll notice that a little interaction menu pops up near my body.
Yeah.
You can kind of mess around with me if you wanted to. Don't. There's also the option to hold control and hit Windows. So these are our ACE interaction, and the control windows is what we call our self interaction keys. Many things you can do in these menus. We'll get into that a little bit more, but I wanted to go ahead and introduce you to it. We'll show you some of the things you can do after we get started. So let me find where our arsenal is real quick. I believe it's these doors open. They do. So here's our arsenal. Sometimes weapons will be on the racks, and you'll have to just pull them off and go through that. Other times you just ace interact with the arsenal, and you'll the Windows key is the ace interact, and you'll enter our arsenal.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Whoa. Okay. Yep.
So did you see the option to interact with it and select arsenal?
Yeah. I'm in.
Okay, you're in there. Okay,
Think
so
so.
let's start you off with a pretty basic loadout. Select that battle rifle at the very top, the BR-45.
Yeah.
On the right-hand side, just let's pick the EVOSD Mark III scope.
Okay, Space, I'm gonna stop you. Why are you giving the big scope to new people?
It's just something to throw on there while I'm teaching them. It doesn't really matter. It's one that I'm familiar with, so I'd show them how to do the zoom in, zoom out if they wanted to. Move to you'll notice there's nothing in the handgun spot. We'll come back to that. Click on headgear, and
Mm-hmm.
you'll want to select the one that's just the 8th CH252D red. Or there's the black right at the 3 from the top.
Oh, I see the red. There you go.
Okay, and then for uniform, you want to be careful with your uniform. Often when jumping into an arsenal, the uniform you spawn with is generally the only uniform in. So try not to change this in the arsenal and leave the arsenal without your uniform. It can mean you have to relog to restore your uniform. We'll go down to ahead to vest and let's see here. If you go down to past where you'll want to pick one of the generic vests. You'll notice a bunch of names at the beginning there. Those are all custom armors for our lance corporals and above. If you go on down just past that, past Jarnold, you'll see an auto rifleman loadout. Let's just have you pick that for now. The vest, just or the backpack. The backpack is the option underneath the vest there, and you can pick the heavy backpack is typically what we jump in with. We don't bother with face wear, but in VGs you'll want the neural implant, the second from the top. It doesn't matter, you can go with the rest of these, but they're all just decorative. Once you have that, let's go to binoculars and we'll grab the H19 Smart Finder. You won't necessarily need that. Generally, you won't be using it during ops and except very situational situations. You'll always want to have your rifle out, generally speaking. And that covers the basic parts of the loadout. But go up to where the uniform was again and click on it.
Yep.
And on the right-hand side of your screen, where you had previously clicked on and added a sight to your gun, you'll notice that you have basically the bottom menu option highlighted, the little plus sign.
Yeah, I see it.
If not, you click on it. So you'll want to, this is where we kind of get all our gear. You've got to, you're going to want to get, well, let me check our uniform. If your uniform is missing it, if you don't see a 343 with a 1 next to it on the right-hand side, click the little plus sign and add that AN/PRC 343 to your inventory.
Okay, yeah, I got it.
Okay. Give yourself about 20 elastic bandages. You can jump numbers by 5 by holding shift and clicking the plus sign.
Mario. Yeah.
Give yourself 20 elastic bandages and 20 packing bandages. Give yourself 5 100 milliliter blood bags. Give yourself an entrenching tool. Give yourself
Yeah.
2 epinephrine, 1 Galaxy S20 Tactical Edition.
It was already there.
Good. And 1 M57 firing device.
Okay.
Some of this stuff we may not actually use, but it's up to you if you want to continue training past the normal kind of get thing. A mine detector can take up space, but and generally only one person in your squad would need one, but it will allow you to know if you're about to step on a mine. Reduce the number of morphine you have to about 2.
Yep. Done it.
grab a personal aid kit, and
Yeah.
it looks like we should have already started with 4 splints and 4 tourniquets. I tend to go
Uh,
with an
oh yeah.
extra of
Yep.
each. So I tend to go 5 splints, 5 tourniquets, and grab the surgical kit, one of those.
Okay.
You
Yep.
never need more than one surgical kit or packing. Or, sorry, we call the personal aid kit packs.
Ah, okay, yeah. I see why. P-A-C-K.
Yep, yep. So let's go ahead and jump over to your vest on the left-hand side again. And on the right-hand side, I want you to click on the icon that looks like grenades, the menu thing.
Yeah, when I highlight over it, it says grenades.
Great. So I wouldn't recommend entering combat with less than 10 white smoke grenades. Past that, it's mostly your option. You don't need to mess around with colored smoke, particularly not if unless you're in a leadership position or a special MOS. But white smoke is generally something that's better to have more of than less of. So I'll say 10 white smokes, 5 HE grenades, and 5 stun grenades.
Sorry, how many?
5 of each.
Okay.
And then you have the 10 white smoke grenades, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Go up, you'll see a set of magazines, and then you'll see like one magazine on its own, one icon. This, when you click on the singular icon for the magazines, it'll show you magazines available for the weapons you're currently carrying. Makes it simple to find what you want. You're going to want to pick the ones at the top there, the not tracer ones. You're going to want to grab, well, about 10 of those. It looks like we can only fit about 7 more in our bag right now. We'll put those in our backpack. So let's instead go to the backpack and add 10 mags of your primary weapon to your backpack.
Okay, done.
Okay. 2 from the bottom on the menu side on the far right is explosives. Let's click on that.
Is that the little boot? Yeah, there we go.
You
Got
have
it.
a little boom. And just grab yourself 5 C7s. We may not wind up using them, but we'll have them there if you want them.
Yeah, I've got 5 C7s, yeah.
Okay. So you can actually save your loadout here. We don't normally recommend it because loadouts change from deployment to deployment, but it can be a convenient starting point as long as you remember not to accidentally throw away your uniform in the arsenal and pick it back up, and always check your equipment afterwards to make sure everything that you need is with you. But that's about all we need for a standard loadout. I'm sure you have more room, but we're introducing a stamina mod, which the heavier you go, the more it will affect you. It's not too impactful. It's relatively chill, but it does base on weight. So when you're done, you can just hit close in the bottom right of the arsenal, and we're
Yeah.
out of the arsenal now, and we have our weapons and such.
Alright. I'm changing one thing. That site's fucking gonna annoy me.
Fair
Yep,
enough.
that's better.
Alright, so we finished with the arsenal. Let's see. So now that you have a radio, push caps lock, and you can be speaking on the radio. If you try to speak while someone else has already started on the radio, they will not hear you. Go ahead and try using your radio.
Papa boy.
Good copy.
Ah, cool. Okay.
Let's show how to configure your radio now. Control Windows to self-interact, and
Yeah.
you should see radios as one of your options. Select the
Okay.
AN/PRC343 and go to Open, and you should see a big fat radio pop up on your screen.
Yep, I see it.
Your knobs at the top are volume and change channel. By right and left clicking, you can adjust the channel. Right now we'll want to
Okay.
stay on 1. On the left, you can adjust the volume of incoming calls, depending on whether you're in a helicopter and it's noisy and crap. On the
Okay.
left-hand side where you see the barcode, you'll have an option, kind of a tooltip pop up saying detach handle. Click on that, and it opens
Yep.
up your radio. If you're
Of
ever
course, got a
needing
little
to
picture.
change, sorry.
It's got a little picture. Yeah.
Yep. So if you're ever needing to change your block, it will be this blue button here. It works just the same as changing channels, right and left click, change your channels. Go ahead and leave
Okay.
that on block 1, and then click
Yep.
back on the left-hand side where it says attach handle, and your radio is set. We'll stick with block 1, channel 1 for this training. Let's see here. We'll go ahead and open up our C tab. What did we have that? That was the slash above the enter key.
Sorry, what was it? Slash. Okay. Got it. Yep.
The backslash. It's working for you? Interesting. I'm having trouble for some reason. Oh, I know. I must not have correctly set it. 1 second. Okay. So that'll pop up a little side view of a little Android phone. This is our Blue 4 tracking. You will not see your friendlies if you open the map. You will only see them appear on here. Right now, I appear to you as a flag, and you appear as a green dot with a green hollow dot. If you
Okay.
remember
With a
those
little arrow.
yes. If you remember those controls that I pointed out to you, you can zoom in and out of this with those controls to
Yep.
make things appear larger or smaller. Um,
We need the larger part.
right. So if you want to well, go ahead and use your Ace Interact. Again, that's the Windows key, and select around my hip. You should see an option to, where is it? Why am I not seeing it on you?
Left
Oh,
arm? That?
no. We're looking for the interaction menu. Almost looks like an eject button, kind of, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
easier to see from the rear of the person. It's right at the pelvis. You can see the option to join group Alpha 13 or Alpha something. I want you to
1-1.
go ahead and join that. Yes, please.
Alright. Oh, he moved out of the way. Stop moving. Okay, I'm in.
All right. So in a moment, you should see your C-tab update to no longer show me as a flag, but as a little blue dot, probably
With the
blue
little
dot with
line?
1. Yeah,
Yeah, I see the
little
1.
arrow. So that represents me. Now, this is how you represent squad mates. If you are not in a squad with somebody, you will only see their squad lead marked with the blue flag. Otherwise, they will be marked, if they are in your squad, they will be a dot on your map. You can also adjust your color by self-interacting. Again, control window
Yep.
and team management. You can select to join red team or green team or blue team, and that is how you will appear to your allies in
What
that
about become
squad.
leader?
Uh, Basically, I would have to leave the group and then join yours.
But it says become leader here.
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, it just showed up for me too. I guess now you're 1. No, I don't guess that changed. I hadn't seen that mechanic before, but I wouldn't use that in server. Um, your team lead may tell you to go red or go green. What they're telling you to do is to go to team management and select a color, and that makes it easy for them to visually identify that red dot must be Private Sid.
Okay, and like that?
Yes, you've gone green, and I've gone red. If you
Okay.
go white, or if you go to leave team and not leave group, you'll return to the white color. Did I arrest you? I didn't mean to do that. Not sure how that happened, actually.
Alright. What am I doing? Leaving team, leaving group?
Yeah, and don't leave group, but leave team. and you'll become white again. And as far as other people are concerned, on map you're blue, but you have a little white thing above your head. Um, the blues aren't used as often because blue isn't significantly different from the default blue that people appear. Anywho, that's enough of that. If you hit Control and the button for C tab, which is that slash above the Enter key again, you'll
Oh,
open
it's
up a
bigger.
much larger yes with several tools. One thing about this map I want to tell you is if you shift left click, you will leave a mark on your C tab that is visible on other maps, but only to you. You can mark this, and it's a private little mark that you will see both on your C tab and your map. No one else will see it. It's a handy way for finding your team on the C tab and then using the map to, say, mark sections and stuff. Anything you would need to mark on the actual map that doesn't have, like, your team radar on it. Sorry if I'm talking in circles here.
Mhm.
In the lower left-hand corner, do you see a gray square with a bunch of white numbers?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll talk about that in just a moment. In the top left, you'll see direction and bearing, or azimuth. So you'll have like your letter direction and then the degrees in which direction you're looking. Middle is the in-game time, and on the right is what we see is a six-digit grid that can tell you to the nearest 100 meters um, where you are on the map. In the lower left-hand corner, we see another. At the top, we see another six-digit grid. That six-digit grid is based on where the arrowhead of that yellow arrow you're moving around is. Underneath it is all the distance from you that yellow arrowhead is. Sorry, no. The under that is the elevation of where that arrowhead is. Under that is the distance from you that yellow arrowhead is, and under that is the direction the arrow is facing in its azimuth or bearing. Some pretty handy tools associated with this. If you control slash or you control C-tab button, the backslash again, it makes it go away. You can just tap regular backslash to make it pop up in the lower right left-hand corner to return it to its default state.
Okay.
Did you follow all that okay?
Yeah, I followed it.
Okay. So we've gone over radios. We introduced the neat things you can do with C-tab. I think I want to skip ahead to a more important part of what we do, which is reinserting. Let me see real quick if we can do that on this map. Okay, unfortunately, it doesn't look like we have the drop pods on this map. We're no DST unit, so often we'll use drop pods for reinsert as opposed to teleport or air ferry. It's one of the useful reasons why I showed you that little mark on your C-tab. If you're having trouble, well, that mark will show up on any map. So if you open up your C-tab, find your team, shift left click near where they are, and then open the control panel for the drop pods, you will see that mark on map, and you can then aim your drop pod on that mark and then sit down and launch. And it will put you pretty close to your squad. Don't want to land directly on them, but it's pretty tricky to. It's got a big area of where you might wind up landing, so try not to try to take that into account when you're choosing a spot to send your drop pod. Whenever the drop pod comes in, come flag me or someone else who's been in the unit a while down, and we'd be happy to show you exactly what it looks like and how it works. Um, so we've gone over we've gone over reinserts. Looks like I should go ahead and tell you about medical. We keep it simple when people are just joining. You may have some experience for previous units. If not, don't worry too much about it. As a rifleman, your priority, finish the fight first. As a medic, your priority, finish the fight first. After the fight has been wound down and you have your casualties in a relatively secure area, uh, your focus is going to again be on security. Without security, it all falls apart. So,
What
but
do you mean by security?
security is where if someone tells you to pull security, you and the rest of your team are to kind of like keep your eyes in all directions. Pick a direction. Make sure your friends picking another, and y'all are watching that area with your guns up, ready to shoot anything that comes from that direction. Any enemies, I should say. Um, we also try not to shoot friendlies, but shit happens. Um, so yes, if you were watching that way and there was one other guy and we were told to pull security, I would probably watch this direction. Not with this big building in my way, but I'd watch that corner of the building. Do I have to have my gun out? Oh, my settings are different, so I don't actually know where my pointer is. But I might watch from that building to the left, and you might watch from that building to the right. And we try to cover as much area as we possibly could.
Should we be like standing out in the open like we are? Or?
Well, since we're just training, we're not in a combat zone. This is a friendly base. We wouldn't generally worry about security in Blue 4 base. But if we were in the open, generally you'd have, well, more than us two. We run in squads of at least 4 or more typically. If we've gone down to 3 or less, it's not generally a good time. But yeah, you would basically be in a formation. We'll get into those, and you would be responsible for kind of watching a vector that kind of aligns with where you are in that formation as you move, as you come to stops. We'll get to that later. So after security is pulled, one man, typically the medic, you might find yourself doing it in very in situations where the medic is tied up potentially. Uh, when it comes to medical for you, you want to focus on stopping the bleeding. Now, if you look at me and push your H key, you'll open the medical menu. In the upper left-hand corner, you should see my name. This might seem kind of basic. Yes, player one. This might seem kind of like a little basic thing to say to you, but it is surprisingly often that you may hit H to access a friendly or your own medical menu. The man you're looking at when you hit H will be the target that opens up the medical menu. But sometimes it opens by accident. If you're trying to work on yourself and you accidentally click on somebody else, you'll notice by their name being in the upper left-hand corner. So it's very important just to first thing see who you're working on, whether you or them. And the far right, or under the examine and treatment, there's several icons. The far right is the toggle option. So if I opened up your medical menu and I wanted to work on myself, I would hit toggle self and switch to myself. It seems someone's put a tourniquet on me at some point.
Yeah, for like a half-hour space, I did that.
Yes. I was wondering why I was in pain. I assumed it came from the drop, and it's not been great for my stream. But funny joke. You shitter. Yeah, I was wondering if I was actually gonna. I didn't realize like it was getting worse. I was gonna pass the fuck out, wasn't I?
Yeah, I'm hearing your guy cough
and
breathe
whine
heavy.
this whole time. Yeah. God damn it! I actually have to take fucking medicine for this. Hopefully I don't hear my heartbeat now, you shitter. Alright.
You can't just heal yourself in Zeus.
I guess I could, yeah. I was like, God damn it, get over it. You fell off the cliff like an hour ago. Alright, that's funny. Anyways, so, hmm, how should I teach you this? Sort of. Can you put one round in my leg without doubting me? Go ahead and shoot me a couple of times in the left leg.
There was no way I was going to be able to do this with that other scope. I want to put it on the foot.
Alright, you've caused a wound. Go ahead and look at me and push H. You'll notice that my left leg, if you hover over the yellow leg, it will tooltip and tell you that that is the left leg, because it's my left, not yours, is yellow. On the right-hand side, you'll see that if you click on the leg to select it, on the right-hand side, you'll see that I am bleeding. I have lost some blood. I am in pain, and I have a minor avulsion. Typically, we try and keep it simple with people, so we'll just say bandage the leg. I know I gave you packing and elastics. There's a slight difference with those. Doesn't matter to new people. Just slap elastic on everything. I guess I should have let you do that, but I went and did it myself. Go ahead and shoot me in the other leg if you want to.
Let me help you out.
Right.
Sorry, the other
Actually,
leg?
yep.
Oops.
Okay. So get back into my medical menu again.
Yeah.
And you used a tourniquet there. I kind of misspoke when I said bandage. Generally, especially if you see that leg, how that is actually like a red leg, you want to tourniquet most wounds first. Tourniquets will stop bleeding outright. They cause pain and will over time cause your screen to go white, but it's better than bleeding, and you can stop the bleeding immediately with a tourniquet. So go ahead and tourniquet that right leg.
Yeah.
Now, when you're wounded in the leg, you won't be able to run. You won't really be able to move very fast at all. We'll tend to call that just being leg to keep it simple. But you'll want to get this bandaged and stitched. Once a leg wound is bandaged, you're able to run again. Once it is stitched, it will not reopen on its own. Reopening is a mechanic that if you bandage a wounded area, it may just start bleeding again if you do not stitch it. So go ahead and bandage that leg for me.
Yep. Elastic. So it's turned yellow, so it keeps going?
Yes. So if you actually look on the right-hand side, you'll see that the one wound was bandaged, and now the other wound is. You can tell by clicking on wounded legs and bandaged legs that what is still open and what is bandaged via the little B next to the wound. That shows bandage. You'll notice my left leg just went red again, and that was because I believe it just reopened, but it looks like you just rebandaged it.
Yeah.
So now, if you look under Examine and Treatment, you'll see the thing that looks like an EKG. That's the Advanced Treatments. Click on that, and you should see an option to use a surgical kit on me. Go ahead and do so. This is stitching. This will prevent those wounds from reopening.
Gotcha.
Let me make you a doctor real quick. Hold on, so that we can experience blood transfusions. Okay. Now, I wouldn't normally. I have lost a lot of blood during that time.
Yeah, it says lost a lot of blood. insane.
So in general, and this may not be necessary for you to remember, but there's four levels of blood lost: some, a lot of blood, a large amount, and then a fatal amount. Each of those corresponds to roughly 500 milliliters of blood loss. If you see someone who's lost a lot of blood, it may be a decent time to go ahead and give them a liter. So just select a limb on my body that is not tourniqueted
Yep.
and give blood through that limb. If you had selected a tourniqueted limb, the blood would not enter my body until after that tourniquet was removed. Generally, this is the last stage of our treatment for conscious people, is to give them blood. Short of, you'll notice that the personal aid kit has become available. If you're near enough to full health, you can use the personal aid kit to wipe out any injury you've had this game, basically resetting you to a fresh man.
Okay.
Some people don't like that. Fuck them. I don't know
Why?
why.
Okay, you don't know what?
They're
Okay, no more.
they feel like it messes with their immersion, but it's like you were at full health anyways. All this does is clean up the medical menu. But that's my opinion, and so we don't pack people who do not wish to be packed. Generally, you ask them before you do it. Seems to be the courtesy we're giving them. You won't. To the left of the advanced treatments, you'll see the medication. As a rifleman, leave that alone unless told otherwise. So my leg wasn't broken earlier, but you notice if you go to the left of the medication, the apply tourniquet option is available. That'll always be available to you. If a limb is broken and you have splints, you would click on that limb and give them a splint to repair the broken limb. Broken limbs are... I don't need any more tourniquets, thank you. To the left of that option is the examine patient. You'll probably just want to call for medics if you see someone who is cat alpha and you have stopped their bleeding. But here is how you would check for pulse. Generally, I just click on the chest and I check pulse. If they don't have a heartbeat, I tend to do CPR. If they do, uh, it's not my problem anymore. They should wake up, or a medic should treat them as a rifleman. And that covers the really all you need to know is in the medical menu. There is advanced training on that available after you've been with us for a little while, and if you show an interest in more advanced stuff, but you'll pick it up as we go. So we talked about reinserts. We'll talk about the vehicles here. Um, we use the let's see here. How do I stand up again? So sit. Sit.
Oh, man.
Oh, over here. From time to time, we'll move in convoys via vehicle. Things important about them is that we convoy speed is 50 miles an hour. You can set a speed limiter by, if you're the driver, hitting the delete key at about the speed you want to stay. It's like a cruise control speed. It keeps you from going over that speed when you don't want to. Clicking again unsets it. Clicking it sets it. Follow distance, we say 2 seconds, probably a little bit more than that. ARMA is a game where people can desync, is what we call it when a vehicle's not where it's supposed to be. So a vehicle in front of you could just stop in server for no real reason and then get back to where it's supposed to be as far as the physics engine is concerned after a moment. So you don't want to be tailgating somebody because you could just explode you both by entering like an area or entering where another vehicle is, essentially causing collision. So you space yourself out to avoid that. When we take fire in a vehicle, if the enemy is close, we call that a near side ambush. We pull into the immediate cover we can find just as fast as we can. We don't wait to find cover if there is none available. We get off the road and we get out of the hogs. We start fighting. If the enemy is far away, taking pot shots at us, we just blitz on by them. We get away from them. They'll shoot at somebody else. They won't be able to keep up with us. Um, Let me open a map real quick. So if you open your map, you should see a little yellow dot floating around an airstrip. Let me know when you found it.
Yeah, see it.
Okay, I'm going to draw some things on map here for you. Generally, when we're moving in a wedge formation. Kind of self-explanatory. You've got your point men as the nose of the wedge, and you've got your teammates, you included, perhaps following in a wedge. You would be, we talked about security, you would be uh, trying to kind of keep a vector based on your wedge is the kind of place you want to be looking for trouble. Um, Bigger the wedge, the more opportunity there is to kind of keep your eye on your back side. Um, but it's not always an option. Let's see here. Say there was an enemy spotted at this red dot. We would attempt to get online if we're doing it correctly. And what that means is we try to come to a line. That would be achieved by this man, or whenever someone says contact and they say the contact, you want to keep three things in mind. You want distance, direction, description. So I just say contact right if the path or the forward movement of the the forward movement of our basically the direction the squad is going determines the direction that you call out. So this would be either direction right or our 3 o'clock. This would be direction rear or our 6. 12 front, 9 left. And I take contact from right, I would call it, and then this man on the right side would kind of stop, bring his weapon online, and engage. This man would, let me get drawing again if I can remember how, would approach the line and also get there. This man too. Now you might think these guys would come across here. They don't. They swing like a door hinge to get online here and here. That is the more complicated movement, I feel, when taking contact to get online. But that's the goal. When we're doing everything and we're being super operator about it, this is what we can achieve. If contact is front or rear, you will kind of take a more direct path to the line. Say contact is front, you would move up, but you would try and get just as a little bit of spacing in between you and your friends. Can kind of see what I'm drawing here?
Yeah, I see what you're drawing.
Okay. And you would do the same thing for a rear, except obviously the distance they have to run is a little less because the front person would run more to get to the rear. I don't have to explain that to you.
Okay. Yeah, Spades, I was in the army. I know all this stuff already.
Okay. Yeah, I'm doing this because you're a new guy, quote unquote.
I'm pointing out that I might be a new guy to armor, but I'm just trying to
Fair enough.
show you, like,
Okay.
maybe ask the dude if he knows all this stuff, because you if he's already in the army or he already knows the military stuff, he knows this stuff already.
And that's fair, and I don't want to annoy anybody with that stuff,
Yeah,
but I'm going through the standard
yeah.
shit here.
That's something I just wanted to point out as well.
I'll try and keep that in mind.
Yeah.
I don't
However,
know
in
if
this demonstration, I would have, if you had asked, I would have said, no, I don't know, show me it. But yeah.
Gotcha. The other formation we rock is we rock. Well, I showed you how to get online. Line is the thing we want to do when we get in combat. We might also, depending on if the terrain features prevent a wedge, you may also hear call for a column, which is just kind of a follow the line thing. The other formation you might hear a little bit more rarely is file, which is just a tighter column. Just people are closer together. Beyond that, we don't really worry about too many other formations.
Oh, sorry, how is this different? No, okay.
Sorry?
No, no, I was just thinking out loud to myself.
Okay. Bounding is something we might call for, where one team stays and fights, and the other team moves during that time, just like in a action leapfrog, basically. Uh, Spacing, we discussed that you try to pay attention to your spacing. You want to stay between about 10 and 15 meters apart from other people, even in formation. And we've already gone over the direction of contact and how to react to it. I think the only thing that's left is to talk about CQB. When entering or when getting to a building, you want to kind of pay attention to your approach. If people are shooting you down on your way there, that's not going to work for you. But when you get to a building, you make your way there, you've shot everyone who's shooting at you, and you're at a door. You want to stack up and wait for friendlies, or you want to join on somebody's stack when they enter. First man on the stack is to open the door, while another man is confirms that he is ready to enter. Some other
Alright,
people may choose.
sorry, I wasn't following. So, can you demonstrate that, please?
Sure.
Oh,
Let's see here. Follow me into here. So here we have a doorway. I would get up here and I would say stacked up or some such. Someone else would would then try and line up on this side or this side of the door. Take my position here,
okay.
and we'll say that you're the first man, or I will say that I'm the first man, and I will say you'll say, can you open the door? We'll communicate who is opening the door essentially, and I'll say that I'm opening the door, and that will mean that you have your gun up and you're ready to enter. So as soon as I open, in some situations we may want to throw a grenade in or something before we enter, but that'll be discussed. So I would open grenade, whether or nothing, then you would enter. So I'm saying opening, and you would enter.
Okay.
Now we pause here. Pause here at the moment of entry. At this point, we're saying first man, or sorry, let's see. First man will clear left, second man will clear right, and the third man and beyond will
But,
watch the far walls and follow through. No
but
one
I'm already,
stops in a doorway.
I'm already facing right.
Right.
Well,
So,
then it'd be
well,
better if I went right.
I'm just reading what it is on our standardized training form here. So apparently, first man goes left, second man takes care of the right, third man pushes into the middle, and everyone moves with them. We do not stop in the doorway, and we do not run. So you can set yourself to walk or combat pace.
How do I do that?
I actually need to find that out myself. Infantry movement. Let's see. The combat pace is double tapping C on the thing. It will stabilize your gun during movement. You won't be jogging, and your gun will kind of be at a raised, kind of ready position as you move. The walk,
No, that was B.
that's C. If you double tap C, um, you'll move at what's called a combat pace. Your weapon won't jostle around as much, and you will be able to. It'll kind of stay online. It's not perfect, but it's good. Um, the walk toggle is left control C, and that will bring you to a walk. That's about the steadiest position you can have while still moving. So you will walk, but you will not stop when entering a building. You will push through, no matter what you really see. You won't come to a stop to fire anybody. You will just keep moving in. Left man, second man. Now, you'll notice as I come in here, there's other doors. When a room is clear, you might check a corner, or if you're unable to clear something without exposing yourself, you'll come to like this corner and watch down this room. If you see a door, you would maybe keep an eye on the door until someone stacks up on you, and then again you move up. So in this case, I would be able to see that this area is clear. I would call it clear, and you would probably already be watching that door. So you might stack up on that door at this point, and I would get on you. I would say, I'm with you. And then I'd say, I'll get the door if you on your mark or something.
Hey, wait.
Yes,
Look at the way the door's swinging.
it's going to come into my way. But yes, you and the people
No, no,
behind
no,
you.
no. It'd be better if I open the door.
Okay.
Oopsie.
Okay,
Got a
yeah.
better view.
I thought it might open inwards for some reason. Don't doors normally open inwards? Yeah, because otherwise someone could stack a bunch of shit in front of your house and burn you alive. Oh well. Yep, so in that case you would, then you would probably be the one opening the door and I would move forward. And that would make me the first man. I'd clear left. I'd keep moving. You'd clear right, and our team would push through the middle until everything was clear.
Mm-hmm.
I think we might need a little bit of work on our CQB training.
Yeah, you're kind of right, but I just knew which way this door was going to swing.
Yeah. All right, and that concludes it. There's nothing else you really need for basics, but if you'd like to know, I could show you how the explosives work, how the timers work, that sort of thing. Some of the other garbage we grabbed. Let's see, we grabbed the laser designator. We grabbed the minesweeper, but entrenching tool might be something I should actually bother to show you. So we need to move over to a grassy area. The entrenching tool won't work on cement. We will just, boom, put ourselves over here. Now, ace interact or self interact, and you'll see under equipment you have the option to dig a small or big trench.
Yeah.
This is how our entrenching tool works. You can dig a trench and provide yourself a modicum of cover. Don't go crazy with this. Don't dig every chance you get. Kind of just see what your squad's doing. If they're talking about pulling security for a little longer than like a minute, go ahead and I'd say dig a trench. But if you're just stopping just for a stop, look, listen, which is where we, just pause our movement, stop, look, and listen. I mean, some of this stuff isn't terribly complicated. You wouldn't dig a trench, though. You might just be leaving a path for enemies to follow if you did. So, other than that, there's really only learning this stuff for fun, whether you want to set explosives or other stuff. Bounding, we mentioned bounding earlier, but you have your smoke grenades you packed. You'd want to maybe throw those if you're the team running to try and cover your concealment.
How do you throw a grenade?
Shift G by default will pull up a grenade throwing tool.
Yeah.
you can left click to throw. If you were to middle click, you would cook it. Don't really want to do that with a frag, generally speaking, but you get
Well, how do you change grenades as well?
trying to. Oh, just tap Shift G again to switch to the next grenade.
Okay.
That'll provide enough concealment for you to get through some of the larger areas that don't provide any cover. This is the sort of thing you would use smoke to have a team, when you're bounding, one team fires, you run through the smoke, and then you get to a position where the next team can move back up while you cover them. We try to stick to the tree lines where we can, but often we're forced into the open, and smoke is our only savior. That's why you can generally not ever have too much of it. Did you have any other questions?
Are there like any other guns I can use?
Certainly, if you want to pop into that arsenal and play around with the other guns, you're more than welcome to for now.
Whereabouts is it?
We're right over this way. It's right in there. Now, not all weapons.
Can you like change rate of fire as well?
By tapping the 1 key, you can change rate of fire on guns that allow it. This battle rifle, for instance, fires in semi and auto. Now, if you notice in the upper right-hand corner, we have our pistols there. If you wanted to grab one of those, it would be your handgun slot, and you would just press the number 2 to switch to your handgun.
Where'd you?
I'm right here. Oh, that one sounds weird. It's high-powered as shit. Yeah, depending on what time the operation takes place in universe, some weapons may be more available to us than others. Generally, kind of just keep in mind your position on the team and whether they actually need you to carry a rocket launcher or whether or not this operation calls for a long-distance rifle.
Alright.
Do you have any other questions?
No, not at the moment.
All right. Welcome to the 8th.